I was 38 weeks pregnant, swollen, exhausted, and clinging to whatever dignity I had left in the final days before giving birth. My parents had insisted I stay at their house for the week while my husband wrapped up an out-of-town emergency at work. They said they wanted to help, but it didn't take long to realize that help came with rules. Rules that revolved entirely around my younger sister Lacey. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. Lacey, the golden one, the princess, the sensitive soul. She'd recently landed a modeling contract that had gone straight to her head, and now, according to Mom, she needed total silence to center herself before her next shoot. That meant no music, no movement, and apparently no labor pains. It was a Friday afternoon when the contractions started. I was folding some baby clothes in the guest room when a sharp cramp nearly took me to my knees. I called for Mom, and instead of concern, she stood in the doorway with a sour face and said, "Are you sure it's real? Don't exaggerate, sweetheart. Lacey's meditating." I nodded, teeth clenched, and texted my OB. "Time them," she said. I did. 7 minutes, then 5, then 4. My breathing grew heavier, and I knew it was time to go. I asked Dad to drive me to the hospital, and he stood in the kitchen, sipping coffee, shaking his head. "Now? Can't you wait a little? Lacey's about to do her breathing exercises." "I'm having contractions," I snapped, bent over the countertop. He sighed and muttered, "Everything with you is always dramatic." Against all instincts, I still trusted them. I packed my hospital bag, grabbed my phone, and waited near the door. After 20 agonizing minutes, they finally got in the car, irritated like I'd disrupted their plans. Lacey refused to come. She said hospitals drained her aura. We made it 10 minutes onto the highway when I let out a cry. Another contraction. Dad looked through the rearview mirror like I was a liability. "She's gonna scream the whole way," he muttered. "She's stressing me out," Mom added, rubbing her temples. Then they pulled over. Right off the shoulder, a deserted highway stretch, cars whizzing past. I thought they were just stopping to breathe, but Mom turned to me with her designer sunglasses halfway down her nose and said, "Lacey needs peace and silence today. We'll call you a cab." I blinked at her. "I'm in labor." "You'll be fine. People have babies in taxis all the time. We can't do this right now, not with Lacey's mental state." They left me, standing on gravel, in the heat, clutching my belly as another contraction hit like a freight train. They drove away. I don't remember crying. I remember disbelief, the kind of numb pain that replaces tears. I called an Uber, barely able to explain where I was between groans. The driver was a woman named Maggie who didn't hesitate for a second. She turned the heat up, held my hand at every red light, and got me to the hospital in 25 minutes. I gave birth alone. No husband, no family. Just a nurse with kind eyes and trembling hands catching my daughter as I screamed into the void. I held my baby girl, Liana, and whispered to her, "You will never be made to feel unwanted, I swear." The next day, I got a text from Mom. "Glad everything went okay. Lacey says congrats." I stared at the message like it was written in poison. That was the moment the shift happened. Not just in my heart, but in my soul. They abandoned me when I needed them most. And now I was going to show them exactly who I became without their approval. The weeks after Liana was born were quiet, not because of peace, but because I refused to speak to my parents. My husband, Mason, returned and found me still shaken. Not by childbirth, but by betrayal. When I told him what happened on the highway, he stared at me for a full minute in stunned silence before whispering, "They left you. In labor." He offered to confront them, but I wasn't ready. Not yet. I needed time to think, time to understand what kind of people would treat their own daughter like background noise to someone else's spotlight. Meanwhile, my sister Lacey's career was taking off. Or so the headline said. Magazine features, local talk show appearances, endless photo shoots. She posted about family support on her Instagram, writing captions like, "Couldn't have made it here without the love around me." I stared at that post while feeding my daughter in the middle of the night and felt something inside me snap. It wasn't just that they left me. It was that they pretended they didn't. Mom sent me a picture one morning of a crystal bracelet she claimed would heal the tension between us. Dad called twice but left voicemails like I was a moody teenager. You can't hold on to grudges forever, sweetheart. Grudge? I nearly bled out giving birth alone. Then came the invitation. My parents were throwing a launch party for Lacey's first billboard campaign, hosted at a private hall. Come show support for your sister. The card read. It was addressed to Ms. Julia Fay, like they were pretending everything was fine. I didn't reply, but I marked the date in my phone. A week later, I got a letter from the bank, not a bill, not a statement, a flag. There had been a soft inquiry on my credit report from a mortgage lender. Confused, I logged in to check. My jaw dropped. A loan, in my name. $218,000. Active, approved, closed. I read it 3 times, praying I was mistaken. I wasn't. I contacted the bank immediately. They said the property was a recently purchased 2-story house in the next county. When I asked for documentation, they emailed me the mortgage application and deed, my signature, my social, my identity. But I didn't sign a thing. The buyer? Lacey Autumn Fay. It was like drowning in betrayal all over again. I stared at the screen while Liana slept beside me, and something cold settled in my chest. I thought they had left me once, but this wasn't abandonment. This was theft, identity fraud. And my parents knew, because her co-signers were listed as Marjorie Fay and Charles Fay, my parents. I stood up, hands shaking. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I did what they never expected. I called my lawyer, and I told Mason, I'm not just going to clear my name, I'm going to take everything they used me to get. The process took weeks. I had to prove the signature was forged. Thankfully, the date it was signed was the same week I was on bed rest in the hospital with documented preeclampsia. We compiled every document, every message, and even the bank calls I recorded. My lawyer helped me file an official identity theft report, and because it involved a property, we were able to escalate it into civil litigation. I didn't go public. Not yet. I wanted them to believe everything was fine, just like they wanted me to pretend nothing happened on that highway. Then, the billboard party came, and I showed up, not to cheer, not to support, but to serve. Lacey was draped in silver sequins, sipping from a champagne flute when I walked in. Her smile faltered just slightly. My mother gasped like I was a ghost. Julia, she began, arms half open like we were about to embrace. I didn't hug her. I opened my bag and handed her an envelope. Then I handed the next one to Dad, then one to Lacey. What is this? Lacey scoffed. A gift, I said flatly. The kind you gave me when I was in labor. They opened them. 3 separate lawsuits, fraud, identity theft, complicity, and the cherry on top? I had already contacted the county office. The house Lacey bought with my identity was under legal dispute and would be frozen until the matter was settled. Lacey dropped her champagne. It shattered on the floor. Mom whispered, "You're destroying the family." I stepped forward, smiled, and said, "No, I'm ending the lie." Then I turned and walked out as the whole party stared in silence. After the lawsuits were filed, the silence from my parents was louder than any scream. No calls, no messages, no vague apologies, just silence. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. At first, I thought maybe they were plotting behind closed doors, preparing to fight me in court or spin another lie. But instead, it was like they vanished. The family group chat went dark. Lacey stopped posting her usual success selfies. Her management team issued a statement saying she was taking a step back to focus on personal matters. Translation: she'd been caught red-handed and now the world was watching. But I wasn't done. Liana and I were safe, happy, healing. Mason stood beside me like a rock, proud of every move I made, even when I second-guessed myself. Still, part of me was bracing for the day they'd try to twist it all around, paint me as the bitter daughter, the jealous sister, the unstable mother. That's what people like them did when they lost control. But instead, they did something I never expected. They begged. It started with a letter, written in my mother's shaky handwriting. No, dear Julia. No, I'm sorry. Just, we didn't realize what we were doing. We thought it was just a formality. Your sister needed help, and you weren't using your credit. We didn't mean to hurt you. No mention of the highway. No mention of Liana. No acknowledgement of the fact they literally left me screaming in labor on the side of the road. I didn't reply. Then came a voicemail from my dad. He sounded different. Not angry, not sarcastic, just tired. I know we failed you. I know what we did wasn't right. We lost everything. Lacey's house is frozen. Your mother's name's been flagged. We could lose our retirement savings if this lawsuit doesn't go away. There it was. The truth behind the concern. Not remorse. Panic. They didn't miss me. They missed the life they had when they could walk all over me. And they were finally learning what it meant to face consequences. But karma wasn't finished. One day, as I was picking up groceries, my lawyer called with news. The bank had officially cleared my name. The property was being repossessed. And because the home was purchased with fraudulent documents, the civil court had ruled I had full right to reclaim or resell it, under my own name. It was poetic. The same house they bought behind my back? It was now mine. But I didn't want it. I didn't need a house built on lies and betrayal. So I sold it. Every cent went into starting a foundation, named after my daughter, Liana's Mercy, a program for single mothers abandoned by family, left without support, shamed for needing help. And guess what? That old house? It became the first shelter under the program. One rainy evening, I stood outside its porch with my baby on my hip, watching another young mom step through the doors, trembling and hopeful. She had nothing but a diaper bag and a tear-streaked smile. "I don't know what I would have done," she whispered. I just smiled and said, "I do. That's why this is here." Meanwhile, my parents were still trying to reach me. Emails, messages, even letters dropped off at my door. One read, "We're being shunned by the family. No one invites us anymore. Lacey can't get booked anywhere. The agency dropped her. Please, can we meet?" I never responded, but I didn't need to. One afternoon, as I was leaving the shelter, I saw a familiar car parked across the street. My parents. They didn't get out. They just watched, as if hoping to catch a glimpse of the daughter they lost. And in a way, they did. But this version of me wasn't the same woman they abandoned on a stretch of highway. This was a woman who built her own road, who took mercy and turned it into justice, who turned silence into power. As I walked away from their car, I didn't wave. I didn't nod. I just held Liana closer, smiled at the sky, and whispered, "You left me in labor. I left you to learn what pain truly means." And I never looked back. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.